All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Whispering Your Souls. I am, if you don't know by now, my name is Charlie, Charlie Prince, to be exact. I'm here with the conversationalist and Shakespeare. But before we get this show started, we're gonna take in moments of silence for a second, for about 30 seconds. Everybody say a minute, 30 seconds, because everybody know who these icons are, these national treasures. You know, first we're gonna say farewell to Frankie Beverly, the greatest singer of all times, with all his love songs or unity songs, I should say. The brother was bad. And then second of all, to the one and only James Earl Jones. So we're gonna take our 30 seconds right now before we start this show. Okay, let's get with it. I know it's less than 30 seconds because I'm bad at math. Shakespeare's a mathematician. I'm not. So guess what? We're going to kick it right now. So this is the thing. I know the biggest topic in the world is about the debate. The debate. Donald Trump and Harris. Kamala Harris, as she used to say. She went up and shook that man's hand like he didn't have a sack. The man walked to the pit. He was like this. I'm so scared of this woman because she's more manlier than me. I know this is my opinion. You know, this is my opinion. I got the right to my opinion. But I want to ask, who should I start with first? Should I start with Shakespeare? Shakespeare, what do you think about that debate?
Do you want the truth? The truth, and unadulterated, in my opinion.
Your opinion?
Donald Trump won.
Oh, let me get him a close-up.
Donald Trump won. He was more factual. Matter of fact, if you think about it, based on their experience, Donald actually been in the seat before. Kamala Harris, she was really behind the scenes anyway as the vice president. Remember, she just got the job about four weeks ago. So technically, when we look at the questions based on what she had to answer, she never gave a direct answer on the question. When they asked her about did she change her views, she stuck with one issue, the fracking issue, but she never dealt with the rest of them. When they asked her about what her plan was, or we still don't know her plan. We still don't know what she gonna do. As far as right now, all truth aside, I think we sleeping on the other the president now. I think we sleeping on him. I think by right, he already beat Trump. At the bottom line is, most of the Democrats wanted to be the same anyway. So why not keeping them there for another 4 years? You talk about a man that's been in government position for 51 years. He knows everything about the country.
You speaking of Biden? Biden?
Yes. Biden has been in the government position for 51 years. He know everything about the country.
Can I stop you right there?
Go.
Donald Trump is not running against Biden. He's running against Kamala Harris.
That is
correct you like she corrected him.
that is true. That is true. But don't sleep on Biden. Biden knows exactly. But Kamala, Trump won. Trump won. If we look at the debate and look who actually answered the questions that were asked, Trump won.
Hold on. So, okay.
Now,
hold on. D, do you have anything to say about this?
Now listen here. First of all, I don't care who you put up against Trump. This is my own personal opinion. I can't have anybody else. I'm not saying that I am endorsing anyone or forcing anyone to go against what I'm saying, or you should agree with what I'm saying. But my personal beliefs are, if you put anybody up against Trump, it could be Tweety Bird's grandma, and I'm going to vote for them. Because my thing is this, I feel like times change. That's inevitable. Change is inevitable. So with the times comes change. You have to change your viewpoints. You have to change your attitudes about how you feel about things. Trump is stuck in the 20s or something like that, and he's not willing to be a forward thinker, a progressive thinker. And I have a problem with that. And to be all the way honest, I don't care for Kamala either. But again, if you put Tweety Bird's grandma up against Trump, my own personal opinion is that I'm going to vote for whoever is going against Trump. He's not for me.
Now, let me say this. I'm a diehard Democrat, and I'm not for Trump's principles of the thing about Trump, we already know he's gonna do, and if he's in there again, he's probably gonna do a repeat of what he already done. So we all agree with that. We're talking about the debate, though. When you look at the questions, who was focusing it on answering the questions versus who was just trying to bait the other person? If you look at the debate, Kamala was. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you.
Oh no,
Kamala was saying everything about Trump, brought up his convictions and everything. Ain't nobody asked her about. But as soon as they asked her, "Oh, did you change your views, or what do you plan on doing?" She diverted the question back to Trump.
So wait a minute. This is what I'm hearing, because I like this, because what you said is Trump answered every question.
Right.
Okay. First question the first question he answered that wasn't asked of him was about the Haitians eating dogs and cats in Springfield.
No. The first question, the first question was about his abortion policy, and he said, "I did not do that. I have protected bands from them people that did the 9 abortions in 9 months." And if we be totally honest, there are some people that doing back alley stuff in the street that abort people in the 9th month in this country.
So wait a minute. So you're blaming us or blaming the Democrats for illegal activities that they can't control. That's what you say.
No. You said, now, you're right. When he brought up the dogs and cats, that's when everything went left. But when they asked him about his abortion bans, he answered that in the affirmative. When they asked him about the what's he gonna do with the wall, we already know what he was gonna do. When they asked him about the foreigners that's killing people, he answered that in the affirmative. We're looking at who answered the questions. When they asked him about the war in Iran, he said, "I'll end it in 24 hours." He did not change.
Hold on. You giving good content right there. I'm not going to say that he answered stuff he already answered when he was president. So it's easy for him to answer that stuff, because all he did was recycle the same answers. So when we talk about the same answers, that's easy to do. Once you tell a lie, you start with a lie, But the thing about it is, the new questions that he did answer, he said that people's eating dogs.
Right. Now, he did say that.
And then he said that America is failing like Germany. Nobody. Oh yeah. So understand this. He compared America to Germany. I kind of find that kind of odd.
Right. America is still the most powerful country in the world. It's still the best job. one of the highest jobs you can have in the world. All I'm saying is, when you look at the debate, when they asked Kamala about what she would do about the war in Iran, she said, "Hey, I'm gonna have Iran's back," but she didn't say she was gonna try to end it.
Okay, but think about this, brother. This is what I'm saying. When we talk about the content of the conversation, I know you support, like you said, you support Trump. That's your personal opinion. I support who I support. The male Kamala support who she want to support. But at the same time, we got to understand one or two things. Is this when we look at the concept of things, and that's why one of the reasons why you got to have a different aspect of life and stuff like that to make sure that people understand that no matter what, everybody's going to view different, right?
Right.
So I feel like this: if we looked at the whole debate, you know what I'm saying, there was no true answers given on both sides. The only thing is now you into your personal belief of who you support. And
Right.
then, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's also a level of like personality or comfortability, right? Because those are things that people don't talk about, right? So there's a whole aspect of answering questions, and people can view how they answer it and, relate to it or not relate to it. But there's also this level of comfortability. Like, how comfortable do we feel with a candidate, right? How like friendly are they? How like comforted do they make the people feel? You get what I'm saying? Like, are they likable as people? So there's a whole nother dynamic and element that I think a lot of people don't talk about.
Now, to add to what y'all are saying, like I said before, I'm a diehard Democrat. I believe in what the Democrats believe in and supporting the middle class. I believe that we should have the Democrat Party in for years to come. I'm the first person. I even told my family this: if Biden got 8 years, Kamala should come right behind me, and the Democrats should have 16 years. But unfortunately, we at this point right here. So I'm not against nothing the Democrat is saying. All I'm saying is when we're going to see her plan. When are we? Even Trump put out Project 2025, and nobody wants that.
Terrible.
Nobody wants that. But
So,
at the same time, Kamala ain't put out nothing. Like, we can't read nothing. We don't know nothing. We just guessing on what she gonna do for the first 100 days.
Look, but think about this. The biggest thing that Trump wanted to alleviate was Obamacare.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing when he was pressed on that, he had no answer. He said, "I'm still planning." He had 4 years in the office to come up with a plan 4 more years later. So that's a total of 8 years that he still have not came up with a plan to replace Obamacare.
Actually, when they asked that question, he backslided. He said, "I'm gonna keep it until I come up with something better," which he's not gonna come up with nothing better because everything will be more expensive. Everything else.
What I'm saying?
But at the same time, at least he was man enough to say it. Kamala ain't said nothing.
No, she did. She said we improved the Obamacare. That's what she said. She said she ain't changing it. But like I said, we got to look at the whole content. And you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people think that, what I'm saying, we're not here to push the button one way or another. You know what I'm saying? We just here to just go ahead and hold on. And add the content for people to understand this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. Look at it. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason why, we need objective. Because I can't support Trump. To be honest, I'm gonna say it like that. Hold on.
I can't support nobody that's willing to grab a female booty just because she passed. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. But I can say he put his big boy drawers on the debate though.
Okay.
So go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, and I think that's a part of what makes our country great. right? Like there are some countries that are ran like a dictatorship, right? So that is one thing that I think makes America great. No pun intended, trust me. Is that I think that we are able to choose whichever candidate we want to choose. You know, it's a free country.
Free country.
And yep, and we are allowed to choose whoever we want to choose. So I would encourage everybody to do their research and select the best candidate that ties in with their own beliefs and views.
Right. You know. So as far as the debate, we're never going to agree who won this. But you know, my opinion is like your opinion, her her opinion, that who won this conversation. But that's okay. It won't hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? It don't hurt nobody. Everybody's gonna do what they feel when it comes to this voting time, this election. But just do your research and vote on the best person for you and what you believe in. Not because your boy did it, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody say this, you know, do your own research. Mm-hmm. That's all I gotta say about that. Mm-hmm. You know, unless y'all got something more to talk about this.
Nope. On to the next one.
Oh, yeah. Next topic.
Oh, you say, oh, you want to go to the next topic. Okay. Now, this one is kind of funny. You know, I want to play the video for it. You know, I do. I really do want to play the video for it, but let's see if I get back to the video for this one. And let me see. I think it's this one. Right?
Do not let your children sleep in the place that you're supposed to get busy with barbecue. Do not let your children sleep in the bed with you. Why? Because that is the place for husband and wife to be intimate. And I feel like there's too many people that they hear this, but the baby, and the kid, they can't sleep. You got to be just a little gangster when it comes to raising kids.
You do.
Come on.
Because they will take over.
They take over. Mm-hmm. And you go through that one night where you just got like, I'm going to let you cry all night. Because it's my responsibility to train you more than you training me. Too many of us have our kids training us when we're supposed to train them.
As a mom, I was so sensitive and no, don't do that to my kids.
We ain't raising no punks.
But I knew that what you were saying was right. I knew to just like let you lead in that moment. Yeah. And that's what I want to speak to wives about is that there are so many wives that don't allow their husband to lead in that moment. And
this is going to be a two video thing. Because this is like a topic that blends together.
It ain't no
not that one. I'm sorry. Ooh, they ain't got it. Oh well, we ain't got that video. My bad. I thought we had the video, but yeah, we got two topics on this one. This is going to be about children sleeping in your bed. Should there be an age requirement? There's no age requirement or nothing. Children should sleep in mom and pop's bed. 2, sometimes children talk to their parents like they're the parents. That they have something and you know what? I'm a firm believer you can teach an old dog new tricks as long as they're willing to listen. But there's a point in life that children cross the line telling their parents how to be parents. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So the comments, what do you think about them two topics? First one we're going to talk about is should children sleep in the bed of the parents' bed where they make barbecue?
So this is an interesting topic, right? And I'll probably have an interesting perspective, right? So I like what the wife said in that, you know, as a mother, you know, I think you have a extra special bond with your child, right? And so you don't want to hear them crying, right? Our instinct is usually when a child cries, especially your child, is to run over to them like, what's wrong? What can I do? You know, and you are going to comfort them however they feel comforted, right? On the flip side, I do agree that there should be parameters and age, like restrictions around how long they're sleeping in the bed, right? So I'm going to tell you my personal experience. So I had an excellent pediatrician who told me very, very early on, like I was still pregnant. She's like, I'm telling you, just some advice off the cuff. don't let your child sleep in the bed with you, right? Like it's going to be a disaster because you're never going to be able to get them out, right? So I was like, oh, I thought about that. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to have my child sleeping in the bed with me till they're like 17, right? So I didn't. And her father and I were together at the time. So she had like this little bassinet thing and she slept in the bassinet, but in the room with us. But she never slept in the bed with us. I think the problem occurred because her brother is like 6 years older than her. And he talks about monsters and started watching scary movies, Five Nights and Freddy and all that stuff. And then as she was like growing up, I think she got spooked. And then she started sleeping in my bed when she was like 3 or 4. And then it was such a hard time. Yeah, I'm not joking. She slept in my bed from like 4 to like 8. I'm not joking. It was rough. It was very, very rough. So if I could do it all over again, I would. But let me just say this one last thing, and I'm going to turn it over to you. I think, and this is outside of religion. I don't care what religion you practice. I'm just saying, I think that's why scientifically there's a man and a woman that it takes to make a baby, right? Just like ideally there would be a man and a woman raising that baby, right? Because the husband is like, they're going to be okay. Trust me, they're safe. They're going to be okay. They're going to have to cry this one out, So I think you have like this harder, raising style usually that comes from the man. And then you have the woman that's a little more emotional and a little more, comforting with the child. So I think both of those personality or parenting styles, there's a place for, and that's why ideally the man and the woman are in the house raising the child.
Shakespeare, what you think about that?
I agree with most of what she said. I
Mostly.
think we have to look at every scenario in this situation.
What just happened?
I don't know. I can't hear what he's saying.
Hey, your mic went out. Can't hear you. Your mic. His mic went out.
Can you just log him out and just text him and tell him to relog back in and see if that'll reset it?
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I can talk.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess when it comes to the second part of your question, which was, should a kid like outspeak their parent, or should a kid like go against what their parent is saying? Absolutely not. But now I'm going to tell you, as somebody that's worked with children for 20 some years, I definitely do believe though that we should allow our children voices, right? Because back in our day, our parents would say, oh, a child should be seen, not heard, right? And so I think that kids should have a voice. However, I definitely don't think that they should be running their parents. Shakespeare, are you back with us? Nope. We still can't hear you, love. Yeah, we can see you. We just can't hear you. Now I can't hear you, C Prince.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
His mic went out.
Okay.
Hey, log in and log back in.
Yeah. So, yeah, what is your take on that, C Prince?
Well, what I think is this. When you have the topics of just basically just kids laying in the bed, I think no kid should lay in the bed with grown people, period. Mm-hmm. Point blank, hands down. And that's just the way I am, When my kids, they laid in the bassinet and all that, and that was cool.
Prince, I got a question. What if your kid is sick? Is it allowable then?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes.
No,
okay.
If they sick, they got their own bed because I don't want to be sick with them.
So a male is going to approach it different than a female. So if we have a single parent, not most of the time that's going to be a single female parent, I mean, she's going to do whatever it takes to make her child feel safe. So that means if he or she gets into bed, I mean, remember, you know, it's the lesser of two evils. So do I want them sitting there crying and keeping me up, or do I want them to get a good night's sleep so I can get a night's sleep because I got to go to work the next morning and conduct business? So I might need to have that conversation. Oh, the boogeyman's not real. Now sometimes that's why they create night lights. You know what I'm saying? Because it gets rid of that fear. You know what I'm saying? Even adults sleep with night lights on. I mean, let's be transparent. We have people that classify as adults, but they do, things that to make themselves feel safe. We might consider it a young man, but that's what makes them feel safe. So we can't say, oh, my child turned 12, he should be able to sleep by himself. I mean, it all depends on the situation. It depends on the situation. Because if we just saying it, if we make anything concrete, just like with the debate, then we trying to be in definitive. So every scenario is different, every situation is different, every person is different.
Okay.
Now, in general, if the child is 45 and she's still sleeping in the bed, now we need to talk to somebody.
So why do you think? But listen, so why do you think it's the difference between 12 and 45?
What?
I mean, no, listen to what I'm saying. Because at 12, I would think that most people would think that most 12-year-olds overwhelmingly sleep in the bed by themselves. So what would make a difference between 12 and 45 then?
Well, I'm gonna answer that because some 12-year-olds still pee in the bed. I ain't.
Some 25-year-olds pee in the bed.
Yeah,
Though. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna keep it simple. As there should be an age if these kids are old enough to feed themselves, use the bathroom, and all that, they shouldn't be in their parents' bed.
Right.
That's the whole goal.
I can go for that.
They should not be in it. They should be in their parents' bed. If they could take care of their physical needs and their basic needs, they should not be in the parents' bed.
I can go for that.
Regardless of how scared you are, so you scared a lot of things, but you know what? Sometimes we got to teach them kids to stop being scared. I mean, y'all agree?
Yeah.
I can go for that.
I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Shakespeare brought up a really, really good point because that actually happened with my daughter and I too. Because a pediatrician was like, you're just going to have to teach her tough love. Like she's going to have to cry it out. You're going to have to put her back in her bed. I'm like, yeah, but then she ends up back in my bed. She's like, yeah, and you're going to have to win the battle 100 times. If your daughter comes in your bed 100 times per night, you're supposed to put her back. And I'm like, yeah, but I got to get up and go to work. She's got to go to school and nobody gets any sleep. So he hit the nail especially right on point with that. So that's true. It boils down to kind of survival and like a blend of survival and trying to get them to like face their fears and grow up a little bit, in terms of, being away from mommy and kind of cutting the cord. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. And this is the honest truth. My daughter is a teenager and she is she's still clingy to me. I'm not lying. She don't sleep in my bed. Every now and again, she'll come crawl up in like to nap or something like on the weekend, but she doesn't sleep like at night. But my daughter is still very clingy. So I don't know.
I mean, I mean, we have to realize that we can't say we feel weird because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, I'm not normal because my child, because we just trying to get through the night some days, most of the
Absolutely.
time. So, as long as she now see Prince, I can see your point. Hey, if they can function, then hey, don't but it might not be an everyday thing. It might just be a trauma. You're gonna act different with a trauma than you would if I was just flowing. I can leap tall buildings from a single bound, and I'm Johnny United. I'm almighty. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. Would you rather keep the peace? Let's say out of a 365 year, she get in the bed once a month. That's only 12 times out of the year. Would you rather her do that and be safe than sit up there and say, well, you just gonna have to tough it out? Now she all traumatized and everything. I don't know. I'm supposed to feel safe with you, and then boom. Now we going to the next part of our question. You know, when does a person, when does children and parents kind of work together as a team, and you know, sometimes the kids run the parents. Well, it's a saying that say, you know, first one time an adult, two times a child. A lot of times when the child becomes the more wiser person, that's their job. My parents used to say, you know, I take care of you now, you take care of me later. And it's nothing wrong with, you know, them saying, you know, listening to you if you got wisdom. Now, if you trying to run their life, then that's different. But you know, if you say, Mom, you might not want to buy that, you on a fixed income, that's just wisdom.
But let's take a point of, let's take that's the conversation that we have. So if it's about for their best interest as a child, you say something to your parents like you might want to do that because you're on a fixed income. But let's say the child is schooling you on basic moral skills, like telling you that, hey, Dad, you know, the way you talk to that woman, I don't appreciate. And this child is 5 years old, telling you don't appreciate you talk to that woman like that. Did the kid cross the line?
Okay, so wisdom can come out of young people too. If he was belligerent.
No, I'm just saying. Would you think the child crossed the line telling an adult that? I mean,
it depends on the situation. If he was belligerent and that woman was in fear, yeah, you might want to slow up. You know these mutiny movements. You know, oh, you know, you threatened my life. You know, and the whole world come to an end because now she feel like she in fear. You didn't put her in danger, but she feel like it. Now you got to. Now she got you in a case or situation or a case or something. So that being said, you got to think about stuff like that.
How about D? What you think? Do you think a child is appropriate for any type of child to correct an adult?
Yes, I think it's appropriate because I think that you can say anything to anyone in an appropriate way. You get what I'm saying? So you shouldn't be that ego driven to where someone can't correct you as long as it's in a respectful manner, right? I've worked with kids for 20 some years and kids have schooled me and I'm totally okay with that. And I've even told them, I'm like, hey, listen, if we have a disagreement or you're disagreeing with something that I've told you, it's okay. Just it's a time and a place to ask me about it outside of other people. Because sometimes, you know, it can be kind of disrespectful the way people are talking, you know, and then it's a whole nother thing. But you can always approach me as long as you're talking to me respectfully. We can have any type of appropriate conversation. So I just think it's all about the way that the tone and the intonation of the voice is and the way that they are talking to that adult.
So this is what I'm going to say is this. Do you think that, you know, nowadays the parenting skills that children have more liberties to express themselves with no consequences, and at the same time that we as them parents now don't be offended because they don't know how to parent their own children nowadays, because if you look at these young children, they make more grown decisions than grown folks, to be honest.
So see, Prince, now I think on this line we all come from the, you know, stay out of grown folks' business. You know, I come from a family that believed in, you know, if you're a certain age or until you get to 18, you sit at the kids' table during Thanksgiving. Now let's get this straight. At the same time, you know, if we're talking about can a child just drop some knowledge on a person that is their senior. Whether their parent, the adult, whether the child, that person, can they drop some knowledge? Absolutely. Now back to your original question. Your original question basically is, do sometimes in this day and age, are you afraid of your own kid? Let's just be transparent about it. There are parents out here that's afraid. We got people that make whole shows about it. Dr. Phil, Mari, everybody, they got whole shows out here because I gotta, scare the kids straight. I gotta go out here and pay these people to do something to my kids so I can feel safe in my own home. Now,
so what you think? So once again, this is, you see the progression of sit at the kids' table. Now
right.
These kids feel like they can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and guess what? So basically, the parents are just become how you say, the parents are just making kids so they can be raised by their kids. That's what it seems like.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So there's an imbalance here with us. You know what I'm saying? It's an imbalance in culture that now these kids, because I remember back in the day, there was no such things called as child abuse. It's backhands, pots and pans, switches, and everything. Whatever I can hit you with, you deserved it. Now you can't even call them out their name without it being called child abuse. Or
right.
better yet, I dare you to touch me because I got a place for you, mom and dad. It's called jail. You understand
right.
that? So we gotta understand that, these kids, I kind of agree because I have been schooled by some younger people in my life. I have. So I'd be a hypocrite say I haven't. You know what I'm saying? But when them kids still got milk behind their ear, 5 and 4 years old, talking like they grown, it's inappropriate because guess what? That means they have no respect. You know what I'm saying? Because kids say the darndest things, especially when they talk to you and you sit in front of your friends and your little 4 or 5 year old child come here and tell you, hey, you ain't supposed to do that. And you respond by like not doing what he just said. Who the parent now? And your friend, I'm gonna look at you like, man, you need to go ahead and knock that little kid head off right there. Go to jail. Go to jail. That's what I'm gonna be. Go to jail, bro. Get your manhood back. You know what I'm saying? That's how we'll look at you. Because that's your child. You're not his child. You see what I'm saying? So, but I ain't condoning child abuse by no way. I'm just telling people, I come from the air. Hey, knock a little kid out. Well, and there's nothing wrong with it, but things have changed.
Well, if we have the policy of, if I could feed you and take you on trips, then I could discipline you, and we develop that understanding. If we keeping the good book out of it, because the good book says spare the rod and spoil the child, but if we just deal with the policy of, if I feed you and take care of you, then I can discipline you. And then go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was done.
I like that. So what you're saying is this, and I like that theory that you just said. If I feed you and I clothe you, I can discipline you. So if you want to act out, I don't have to feed you no more. I don't have to clothe you, and you go get discipline wherever you want to get it from. So I just put them out. So we can eliminate that right there. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good policy to have, because you stop 2 of them, something's going to happen. He going to get right, or she going to get right, or they're going to get gone. You know what I'm saying? So I like that policy. I mean, people might look at it like it's wrong, but hey, that might work.
Here's the thing also, and this is where I think society gets it twisted, right? So we have all these sanctions on parents now, right? What you can and can't do to discipline your child, right? But then they're the same ones when the police roll up, when it's hoodies and, young black men shooting dice on the corner, then they pull up and they putting our boys on the pavement face first. So you got the right to act a fool and use excessive force, but I can't even whoop my child on the butt. What's wrong with that? Make it make sense.
I'm gonna tell you what it makes sense because this is what it is. You know, if we let you discipline your children, and people need to take the fact this, and they come out on a straight and narrow, the biggest job market in America is prisons. You just crippled a money-making machine.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? We got to make sure that we can keep this money going. And the only way we can do it is destroy the home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, make the kids think they're grown. They're ready for grown consequences, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, as far as kids, you know, overstepping, because, you know, if you go outside to the supermarket, to just anywhere, their kids are allowed to amusement parks and stuff, and you listen to the conversation that these children are having, they're talking like they're adults, and then you might respond to them like an adult because you heard them before you seen them. And then when you realize you talked to a child, it's too late to retract what you said. Now you got to be full-fledged for this conversation with them. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? They had a little, how you say, what you say? They got enough knowledge to carry on the conversation about what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail perfectly on the head. Like they thrive off of a broken home because they can continue to profit from a system when the kids are in prison. Because if I'm disciplining my child like they're supposed to, they won't even get to that point. You get what I mean? So it's like, and don't get me wrong. As I said, I work with kids. Don't get me wrong. Some of it is extreme, and it is uncalled for, and it's illegal. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about the sheer right for me to discipline as like a tap on the butt or whatever. You know what I mean? As a parent, I think you should have the right to do that for sure.
Well, if we be transparent, that changed when kids started threatening to call 911. And so they had to justify how do we police this issue? Now, what allows police officers to pull us over, or what we call it driving while black, or whatever we doing, is their badge, gives them the authority to do that. So we believe as parents that we have that authority because we were made parents. But the next, but when the child go and tell, that's when, defects or child protective services and social workers come into play. And so they base it off the system of policies and procedures. So that's why we go back to, if I feed you and I take you on trips and I pay for your schooling and I do all these nice things, then don't crucify me if I do something.
But Shakespeare, so let me play devil's advocate for a minute. Let's say you're I don't even know if you have kids, so this is totally hypothetical. Let's say you and your son, I don't know, get into an argument, right? Let's say he pushes you, just for example. So that gives you the right to put a hammer through his skull? I mean, shouldn't it still be some kind of parameters, though, at the same time?
No. Okay, the punishment must fit the crime. First, God forbid anybody try me like that. But it, especially as in an African American culture, young people are always going to try to buck because it's a rite of passage.
Absolutely.
The grasshopper needs to see if he can beat the sensei, and so that's when the father started going back to the gym just so he could just feel like, oh my God, my son getting older, so he might try me, so I need to be ready. So, of course, it's a process. Everything is a process, right? So first you get that warning. Hey, you're getting too big. What's going on? You done tried me. You done tried to push me. I'm walking away from this. You do not want this smoke, right? Everybody love it. You don't want this smoke. Then he try you again. Now it's about who gonna get the first person down. Now we might wrestle, we might tuggle, but the thing about it is, the minute you call the police, the job of the police is to bring back order. You know what? Either we separate the people or somebody go to jail. They're just trying to establish the order.
Generally.
So as long as nobody calling the police, we ain't got no problems. You bust him across the face and he go to the hospital. We as a black family, we gonna keep this between me and you. Just don't do this again. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, once the police get involved, they got to bring back the order, and they only trying to get out.
But I guess my question is this, and I'm gonna bring it to you also, C. Prince. My question is this, and I'm speaking from somebody that works with kids, like I said, but I'm also speaking for real life cases. So there was a mother. I don't know if y'all heard about it. It was on national news. She killed her kids and had them in the freezer for like years. And her reasoning was like it was insane, like for nothing, basically. Like it was crazy. So I guess, and I'm not disagreeing in that there should be rules and regulations in place as parents, but at the same time, when is the line crossed to say, okay, now this is a legal matter because it's gone too far? Because I personally know of cases where there have been parents that have done harm. I'm talking about substantial harm to children that was completely uncalled for, and it went way above and beyond.
But you see, this is what I'm going to say. I like how this conversation is going because, you see, we went from talking about when a kid's old enough to talk as an adult, and you see how it sprung up to many different branches that the cause and effects. You know what I'm saying? Because some adults can't handle children talking to them like an adult, and they'll take it to the extreme. Some other adults are so passive, they take the abuse of the children. You see what I'm saying? You see how, whereas the boundaries is this, is how we continue to educate and talk and people say the word train. I don't like to train. You know what I'm saying? Because you train things that don't have no conscious thought. They're going to do it over and over and over again. There's no goal. If you train somebody to do something, they're going to do it to the best of their ability in that trained position. But when you teach, when they learn something, they're going to expand from it. You see what I'm saying? So we need to educate our kids to learn how to interact with people. You know what I'm saying? Or especially as an adult, we should be the prime example. Watch me how I interact with the wife, the girlfriend, people in general. And then when they come and talk to us as adults, we should remind them, yes, I understand you asking this serious question, but at the same time, you got to understand there are certain things that you're not ready for in life. There's certain things that I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to gradually bring you up so you absorb this knowledge and you're mature enough to understand this knowledge that I'm giving you. And hopefully you use it in the best. Go ahead.
And we as adults have to be ready to receive that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like a kid. Say, for instance, my daughter has said this to me before. Hey, Mom, guess what? The speed limit sign says 50 and you're going 61. I'm like, listen, little mama, I see the sign. I understand. I shouldn't be doing over the speed limit, but I'm trying to get somewhere and I'm running late. It's not right, but it is what, you know what I mean? It's a way that you can also talk to your child when your child corrects you, you know? And sometimes it takes a conversation to say, hey, listen, okay, that's fine for you to say, like, just, you know, after that incident happens, like say you're around people, then to tell them privately to say, hey, listen, I understand what you were saying and you were correct. But it was almost like you might have been like, it's a little embarrassing by you saying that in front of other people. So next time, let's have that dialogue privately. You know what I mean? You, like you said, you have to train your children on how to speak and interact. And they also look at you as that example as well. But we as adults also have to be at a place where we're not with that old school mindset. Because I think the silliest thing that adults and parents say is, well, my mama did it to me. My mama did. That's stupid. That's the stupidest reason ever known to man. That don't make it right. You know what I'm saying? We have to learn to evolve. Times change. So I'm
Well,
not saying that you should throw everything you learned to the wayside, but it should be a rationale in why you do things and why you behave the way you do, other than it was done to you.
Wait a minute. Now I got to put my foot down on this one. You cannot dismiss tradition. You know, that is a traditional butt whooping or whatever you was getting. It's tradition in your family to receive with your mother and your father, your grandpa. They just kept it going to remind you of the abuse they had when they was children. So you
That's unhealed trauma. I need you to heal your trauma and then heal from it and research and educate from a place of love.
Yeah.
Heal your trauma first.
I know, but honestly, you're right. We have to evolve, because apparently the lack of discipline is taken away on a society because you know what? These kids don't fear nothing.
Well, we do have to graduate from the do as I say, not as I do principle.
Amen.
Because the problem with that is, like y'all kind of have been saying, when you go to try to tell your children what's right, then they're gonna say, well, when your kids start driving and they driving 10 miles over the speed limit, you tell them to slow down, they're gonna say, you did it, why I can't do it? Because
hold on, the key's wrong, Mike.
Example. If we're going to be the example, then that forces us to dot all our I's and cross all our T's. Now let's go back to this whole police situation. Just this Sunday, if y'all, I don't know if it was on y'all news, but the football player got pulled over.
I saw that.
And then 3 police officers had him on the ground. He didn't do anything wrong. So
hold on, wait a minute. We're gonna end the conversation about the children because you want to talk about a football player.
No.
He's going somewhere about the police, how it relates.
We were talking about when should the police intervene, discipline your children? Well, when did we, our culture, intervene when a brother gets stopped driving while black? 3. We got to go on both ends of the spectrum if we're gonna have this conversation. That's all I'm saying.
I think we're talking kids and adults. Adults drive while black ain't got nothing to do with the kids' conversation. But I understand why you brought it into the kids' conversation. Driving while black is something that's a whole different topic we're gonna talk about. Because that is a good conversation to have. But at the same time, let's talk about your kid telling you what to do, saying, Dad, I need you to go to the store, go get me a waffle and some bacon, bring it back here so I can eat, so I can go to school, and then you can go to work.
Mm-hmm. I think the key, yeah, right. I get it. I think, go ahead.
That goes to when we started to negotiate with our children. You ever notice when you were brought up, you didn't, our parents didn't negotiate with us. When you go to church, you gonna eat with our fix, and if you don't like it, you just gonna starve.
Listen, negotiation was this backhand.
we got to say, what would you like to eat for breakfast? What do you want to eat? And if you got multiple kids and they don't want the same thing, the parent is accommodating. To this day, if we all in the car, we going to one place to eat. I figured if it's not someplace I don't want to eat, I figure out I get something to drink before I just say we gonna go for. If it's 4 people in the car, we gonna go to 4 different restaurants. No, you gonna figure it out where we at. But now little Johnny wants McDonald's and Kate wants Wendy's, we'll just drive the boat.
I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were.
So
I'm sorry.
that grows up to now you 14, 15, 16. Now I can have what I want because you ain't never told me no, and you done negotiated everything for my good. when you start rewarding failing grades, we've been perpetuating this lineage for years. Johnny brings straight F's, and you still buy him a Super Nintendo or a PlayStation or an Xbox or the new
That's
pair of Jordans.
educational.
You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, your reward was based on your grades. Because if you didn't get good grades, because remember, they don't work. So your payment as a parent is their grades. If they bring back if you do bad at your job, they discipline you. Well, if their job is to go to school and they don't report good grades, do you still buy them brand new shoes? You're rewarding something that but you're not getting payment for what you're providing for them. You provide their house, their car, their money, Sweet 16 parties, proms, and all this. All you ask for is a decent grades. They ain't got to be straight A's, but at least come home with some B's and some C's.
I think it's and
Go
I
ahead.
think it's a combination of things, right? So that as times progress, we should progress and evolve. When you know better, do better. As time evolves, we learn more things about parenting and all that stuff. So not to say throw away all of the old ways of parenting. There's some merit in a lot of that, but then also to infuse the things that we have learned over time, right? So we know that parameters and rules must be set in place. We know that discipline is a part of that. But I think there's this new thing called like a social emotional intelligence that we have to, practice ourselves and then also model for our children, right? So it's not just like total discipline without really digging deep with our kids and figuring out what's really going on with their lives. And I will say this. Kids do have a lot more going on than we did. We just cannot deny that. I can't imagine what it would be like if we were young and social media was a thing. Like, that stuff is forever. Some of that stuff, videos or whatever you post or whatever you say, it's forever. So I do feel bad that kids are kind of growing up in this kind of social media phase because there's like this bullying that happens online. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. There are people coercing, and I'm saying same age, obviously, right? But you have teens coercing other teens to show body parts and send them to other teens. Like, it's just this whole crazy thing. You have young ladies who are looking up to Nicki Minaj, no shade to her, but you have kids that are looking up to these bodies that are not natural, and that's what they aspire to be. So then they go and they, have sometimes body dysmorphia, and they have these eating issues because they're trying to achieve something that is not even natural. So they do have a lot. And I'm not saying that we didn't, have some of that going on, but I mean, especially with the resurgence of like social media, being a thing, they do have a lot more, I think, issues than we did growing up. So I do think that parents also have to be mindful of that and have honest conversations with their kids and build a rapport. Building a rapport really, really, really helps. So yeah, letting kids know, yes, I'm your mother, but I'm also that person that you come to when you want to talk and have honest conversations, or there's something going on with you, So I think that's really, really important.
Okay. We got like 2 minutes left on this show, but I'm going to answer something because I like what y'all both did, because to me, it was like, I see that we looking at the kids, right? We're looking at the kids. Right now, they're having mature conversations, all aspects, because you see, we went through and see how many different topics came into this kid being grown and see how it went all around, but it all comes back to a conversation that, hey, we're not protecting these kids and letting them grow in a fruitful manner, a healthy environment, because we're letting other elements influence them. That, when you listen to so much music or watch so much TV, you play too many video games, because these kids are not protected on video because they're playing against adults. So they're getting these conversations that make them think that they can have an adult conversation. So the influence is what these kids are influenced by, so many unhealthy things in their lives. And we as parents has failed to protect them. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, that's what it boils down to. We fail to protect these children, and even, we let the schools teach our children because we don't want to teach them no more. You know what I'm saying? They leave our house, they go for 8 hours a day in school. Guess what? They come home, they outside for a few minutes, or they're in video games, they eat, and guess what? There is no interaction with their parents. So the thing about it is, the kids are not getting more older. The fact is, we're losing our integrity when it comes to children, and we're carrying them as a adult. So this is what we're gonna do right now. I'm gonna go through this. I got a final thought, unless y'all got something else to say, because we're like a minute over our conversation.
No.
So the final thought I'm gonna give. You got something to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay, the final thought will say, we lost 2 national treasures today. I mean, over this week, we lost Frankie Beverly and James Earl Jones. We started at the beginning of the show. We talked about the debate, win, lose, or draw, who's your candidate? It doesn't matter, but you got to believe you have to wake up in the morning and be conscious of your decision. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what we do now is how we're going to go forward in this country. We go with hate, love, separation, or we could be unified. Any way we go, this vote is going to matter. For it's going to have a long, lasting effects. But the biggest thing we talked about was our children. You know what I'm saying? When it's too old to sleep in the bed, is the conversation too mature for the age? It's the children that's going to shape us in the future. We need to get a grip on them. You know what I'm saying? And the only way we can get a grip on them if we get a grip on ourselves, because they're not failing us. We're failing them.
Amen.
All the way around, we're failing them. And there's no way that we could point the finger at them, because we need to point ourselves at, because we gave them this world. We actually gave them this world that they live in, because we didn't make them earn it. They didn't earn that. This is the give generation, the privileged generation. They don't earn nothing. Hard day of work, they don't know it. And those who do know it are looking at them shaking their head like they don't earn nothing. These kids walking around here, they popping bottles, throwing money in the sky, you know what I'm saying? Fancy clothes and jewelry and stuff like that. That's fine. But once all that stuff starts, what you got to show for it? We gave them that lifestyle, because they used to look at brothers that was flashy and sisters that was classy and sexy and all this. We did this to them. So we got to unprogram these children. So with that saying, hey, y'all have a good night.